The show is about to start. Thank you for your cooperation. Enjoy the show, and please come back and visit us again.
Alright everybody, and welcome to episode 123 of the 9 Years podcast with myself, Nick Draper, shortly to be joined by Stuart Deakins. Thank you very much for joining us, whether it be on iTunes, YouTube or 9yrspodcast.org. And once again, we have a lot of football to talk about. Football about AFC Wimbledon. Just for a change, we're going to be reviewing, well, 2 games in the past week. No wins in either. We also have a very special feature that Stu doesn't know about. Now, you probably have an idea of what the feature is because you've seen the title of this episode or you've read the blurb on our website or underneath the YouTube video, whatever it might be. But at this very moment in time, as we are recording, Stu doesn't have the faintest idea what we're going to be doing. So I'm not going to say any more. It will be a nice surprise for Stu when we get there. Hopefully we'll have a nice surprise on Saturday when we beat Charlton. We'll be previewing that game as well. Abdu are you, of course. But first, let's look back on the last week, Stu. And yeah, February wasn't a great month, was it? I mean, unbelievably, as you're listening to this, it is March. Don't look out your window. If you've not got up out of bed yet, don't look out your window. You wouldn't believe it's March. But it is. And February has gone not very well at all. Played 4 points from 7 games. So from a possible 21... we've picked up 4 measly points, and in that time conceded 15 goals, more than 2 a game, which, as bad as we've been this season, is really, really unlike us. So you want to start with the Blackburn game on Tuesday night, because you mentioned to me on the evening that you felt the game was over at 1-0, once we'd gone 1-0 down. Do you think mentally the fact that we haven't come from behind to win a game this season has finally had that effect on the players that when we do go behind, it's like, shrug your shoulders, that's it. We're not getting back into it.
It's always difficult, isn't it? You sometimes wonder whether it's a mental block or... I don't know whether the actual players do know that that's actually happening. You know, that stat is there, although we know Nuardi loves stats, so maybe he has that sort of side of it. But, yeah, I think it's more down to the fact that I don't feel we have that resolve or... I'll give you an example. When we conceded the goal against Blackburn, they did what I call a tactical timeout, which is what Steve Evans used to do, and
Eddie Boothroyd at Watford.
Yeah, and also Graham Westley when he was at Stevenage, and probably still does now. Where's he now? Barnet, isn't he? If I remember correctly.
Yes.
But yeah, it used to be the technical. It used to be. So what happened was one of the players went down conveniently. Referee called the trainer on, and instantly, as soon as he'd done that, every one of the Blackburn players rushed to their bench. So clearest indication that it was a tactical timeout. What did our players do? Just looked at each other. I literally looked at what they were doing because I was thinking, do we want players? So what I would expect, if I'm being totally honest with you, a captain, Barry Fuller, getting his players into the group, or Neil Arley and Neil Cox and that calling his players over to the bench and going, right, well, we'll take opportunity, because there was a good 2 minutes after the goal. No, and all I saw was, and the players weren't even together. You had a few players on the halfway line, a few players over the other side, and I just thought to myself, we've just conceded a goal against the league leaders. We're at home. Points are important. Games running out. Didn't to me seem. I would say it doesn't matter because I don't think the guys want to lose. But I don't think there's a leader or anywhere at the moment that's actually bringing them together and bringing, making it capable of coming back from 1-0 down, which obviously the stats are showing we're not.
What happened to our huddles after the Plymouth game? Every time we conceded a goal, we had a huddle on the pitch.
Yeah,
that's gone straight away. proof once again that was just nothing more than a complete gimmick.
Yeah, you called it at the time.
There was nothing to it.
You called it at the time, didn't you?
But it's the pre-match huddle as well that we always do. It's no point in doing it because, as you say, so often this season, especially when things go against us, you don't see a team ethic there, do you?
And Joe, it's easy for us to pick holes in things, isn't it, when we've just lost, and we're pretty disappointed. It's still quite raw from that, and I think because when you make the effort to go to a game that's blimmin' cold, it was a cold as not on earth, I reckon. Well, maybe that's slight exaggeration.
Coldest night on slight exaggeration.
That's what it felt like anyway. I mean, the worst defeat ever. Because, of course, every new defeat is the worst defeat, isn't it? But I don't know, you just want something. I forgot what I was going to say now, if I'm being honest with you. I was too busy about a cold on earth. But, yeah, you just want. I can't think what I was going to say now. What was your point originally?
I have no idea. It's the fact that you put the effort in as fans to attend the game despite the plummeting temperatures.
Yeah.
And then you get that sort of performance.
You get that. Sorry, I lost my train of thought because of that stupid reference to the cold. But it was the coldest night on earth, of course.
That was the worst 90 seconds of audio I think we've ever done.
Cool. But, that's quite an achievement.
Yes. But I get your point. The point is, like many people have said, ignoring the fact that perhaps we weren't really up for it, as fans as well, to be honest with you, because we were all, and me in particular, was moaning about the temperature and how cold it was, reflected in the attendance, which was nowhere near as high as the official figure given, was it? Let's be honest. I mean, I'm watching goals back on TV today, and there are more empty seats than I even thought there was being there last night, Tuesday night. So,
yeah, sure. Yeah.
But you're right. The team didn't. Everything about us just seemed like this was a game just to get out the way, if you know what I mean, rather than a game where we could have picked up a valuable point or three. Yeah,
I got there early, so I was in the ground probably by about 5:30. I think I got into the ground. I was there for.
All right, George.
Well, the reason I got in there is because obviously it was. I just wanted to be nosy. When I got to the ground, I managed to speak to one of the groundsmen that I know. And they were talking about how they were going to take the covers off and that. So, obviously, we're fortunate enough that we're able to get into ground early because of part of our Facebook Live. So I used that opportunity and just had a look. And I must admit, it was such a professional job that they did on there. So, I got in there early and took some footage. So, hindsight's a great thing. But I did make a few comments to you, didn't I, when you got to the ground, that I just sensed that the players didn't believe, and probably, Joe, what, me included, didn't believe the game was going to come to a conclusion because of the weather and it was so cold. And I just wonder whether Blackburn turned up with a professional winning mentality. We've travelled all this way, we're going to play to best of our ability, because they've done a number of us. But I wonder if the conditions and all that sort of stuff just affects our performance, because that second half performance by us was not one that I want to see in a women's shirt too many times.
A lot of people have commented that it just doesn't feel like a Wimbledon team. And this is the thing. We can talk about this result in isolation is actually not the end of the world, is it? Let's be fair. Blackburn is a bit of a free hit. You're not expected to get anything from it. So in isolation, it's not that bad. But it's those little things that people have been saying all season long that have come to the fore again, like we've just been mentioning there about team ethic and huddles and all that business going on. The familiar theme this season is negativity. Yes, we are playing the team that are top of the league, a very, very good side. Not the best side, I think, I've seen this season, by any stretch. What I would say to them, in fairness, I think your word there, professional, they did a very professional job, Blackburn, I think is the best one, because actually, yeah, they may not have, they wouldn't play us off the park in the way that Wigan did, but they just worked so hard. They didn't stop. They were very switched on. And helped, however, like I'm saying, by our negativity. One up top, fair enough, but Lyle Taylor was that one in the first half, horrendously isolated. And then the half-time substitution to bring Joe Piggott on, I thought was a good one. Bring on a second striker. We didn't go with two up top. We persisted with one up top. And then we moved Lyle Taylor out wide again. it was frustrating at the time. My frustration was added to when Neil Ardley said he was disappointed that the players hadn't given it more of a go. That was his post-match comment. Well, it's very difficult to when you're trying to play a system where your man up top can't get into the game.
Yeah, I agree. And Neil Ardley's comments, unfortunately, after the game didn't marry up to what I saw. You're right. Didn't give it a go. Did you play the formation or the tactics to give the guys a chance? Because we did give it a go. We gave. In my opinion, as soon as the second and third goal went in, game over. And then the substitutions that we made, again, game over because we didn't make any. We moaned that we didn't have attacking options from the bench. McDonald's basically sat and got splinters for 90 minutes. So yeah, those comments were disappointing. But yeah, do you know what? I've watched the goals back, and the goals are shocking. The only goal that I can live with is the second goal from Bennett. It's a great strike. At the time, I wondered whether George Long should have done better, but no, I think it was a great strike into the bottom corner. First goal was a car crash in terms of the highlights. If you were there, you would see the whole side of the highlights don't show that. The highlights showed the final ball going in, but the corner coming in, I thought George should have either caught it or got a better punch on it. And then to allow Bradley Dack to get a free header on the angle and it's a lob your keeper, it's just crazy. I just don't understand how it happened. And the third goal, we were a bit late joining each other recording this, and the reason I was late is I couldn't believe how bad the third goal was, and I don't know if people watched it back, but I wasn't too sure if Robbo was slow getting to Bradley Dack for the centre, and then realised that actually it wasn't Paul Robinson, it was actually Jonathan Meads who had to come over and cover because I forgot his name now. Who's the other striker for Blackburn? Not Armstrong. How can I forget his name? Because he was who put the ball in for the second goal. Can't remember now. The other one. I'm going through every striker, aren't I? Anyway, so George Frank.
You're doing a Lindsay.
Yeah, George Frank got done on the side very easy by him. And then Robbo was actually about a good 10 yards out of the area because he went out to Bennett, who drew Robbo out. Deji wasn't in the area and then allowed me to come over. The way Blackburn drew out our defenders all night was good from their point of view, but I think Robbo's an experienced defender, and for him to get drawn out of the area and Deji. But then, let's go back to the argument. We changed again a centre half pairing from Peterborough game. We went from Barry Fuller, Deji Oslaja to Deji Oslaja and Paul Robinson. You keep mucking around the centre half pairings, what are you going to get? Inconsistency and how they work together.
Yeah, no explanation for those team changes, although we did get them after the Peterborough game, which was good. I was happy that that question was posed of Neil Ardley after Peterborough, sort of explaining some of the changes he made in that game. But again, Blackburn, followed on from Peterborough in the goals we conceded. You've highlighted there the defensive inadequacies. I thought the equaliser Peterborough got against us, I thought was a woeful goal. We very rarely get ourselves into that position, in fairness. But to have a runner just run through unchecked, unfollowed, finds himself 10 yards dead centre of the goal, easy finish. Yeah,
and the reason he has a goal, again, I'm not. Joe, every goal you concede, you can pick holes in everywhere. Of course you can, because there's always a reason why a goal's been scored, unless you just happen to get someone knocks it for 40 yards and it's a top corner. But yeah, that goal was very much. Deji got moved out, Barry Fuller got moved out, and actually Madison got played onside by Jonathan Meads staying in. So actually, if Meads had stepped out and played offside, then he was offside. But Meads dropped in, and could never, from where Jonathan Meads was, he could never actually get to Madison, but he stayed in, and actually what played inside. Because you were right, you said after that we very rarely get done with that sort of goal. But again, is it because we've got so many different pairings at the moment? You have to wonder. Because at the moment it's fine lines. That's a 1-1. If we had gone to Peterborough and won 1-0, actually, would we have accepted last night? It's a difficult one because you also wonder whether we've gone in with more confidence. But yeah, it's fine margins at the moment. We're conceding goals that are not the greatest.
No, and it's unfortunate that going through those goals, Jonathan Meads' name has come up numerous times there. Tuesday night, of course. I thought he had a pretty good
He
game,
did.
especially first half. Thought that looked like the Jonathan Meads we knew from last season, the season before. It's just these slips, like you've mentioned there, which I hadn't picked up on before. The equaliser at Peterborough, he stayed in. The slip ahead of the second goal last night, where he's gone to win a ball and he's totally missed it. I guess it all just comes down to confidence, like you're saying, doesn't it? Not having that consistency. Because also saying that, who had their worst game for? I think their worst game for us all season last night was George Long. And again, is that all coming from uncertainty and confidence because of who's in front of you?
Possibly. It's decision making, isn't it? So, he comes out for the corner, then comes out for the cross. Does he come out because he thinks that we're not? Darius Charles is a massive, massive loss for us. Yes, it's one player, but Darius arguably is probably one of our players. Could he arguably get player of the season in some people's eyes because he's been so consistent. But I think we're probably starting to see how much of a loss he is. Will Nightingale is obviously a big loss for us as well, because Paul Robinson. We've said this before, and it's not to kick a man when he's down, but Robbo is probably one season too many. And yeah, on Tuesday night, he did all right. Danny Graham, by the way, is a striker that I was on about who took out.
How could I tend to ignore people that don't have a surname.
Exactly. But I can't say why he come in, but I just think it's unfair at this stage. I think Robbo's probably more of a League Two player now with his age and stuff like that, and I find it very difficult to have some moan about. But I think Will Nightingale's been a big loss. Yeah, George Long's had a great season, so any mistake now we're going to go, what's he doing? I think he's had a great season. We carried a lot of players second half, didn't we? The player I was most disappointed with was Lyle Taylor. But on reflection, I think he just got fed up last night. Last night I joined you. I think he got fed up on Tuesday. He's asked to play a lone striker, very, very lone striker. At some points, he was the only person in the attacking half. And then he gets knocked out wide. Lyle's on 12, 13, 14 goals. He ain't going to score from out there. He ain't going to score from a corner. He ain't going to score from a free kick. Very, very disappointing.
Yeah, is there a case there, though, of, let's go back to Chelsea, randomly, under Jose Mourinho, when their players decided they no longer wanted to play for him, and they just didn't put a shift in. Is there an element of Lyle having done that last night, where he's just thrown the towel in? And as much as you can say, yes, it's frustrating, and we all appreciate it, and we're on his side with that frustration. We'd have all felt that frustration in the same situation, but he had a bit of a sulk, didn't he? Threw a bit of a strop in that second half for me.
But that's what Lyle's about. Lyle is a complex character. He is. You read by his own by his own admission.
He's unlikely to take a wife.
By his own admission, there was in the programme last night. I was reading it today actually, and there's an article in there, a good article actually in the programme this week, talking about his career and actually that. He was with Robbo Millwall. Millwall when he was at Millwall, so was Robbo. And he said, him at Millwall was a character that would challenge, would say things without, would challenge decisions. And Robbo probably wouldn't believe the difference in him now. But he does say in that he feels now he can challenge decisions because of what he's achieved in the game. So basically saying that he will answer back and he will be a bit of a tantrum when he's not going right. I sort of get that's Lyle's game. Lyle, if Lyle's not moaning, then I don't think Lyle's any good. Because I think that's what his makeup is. He's that sort of character, isn't he? And you've got
to be very, very, very careful with that comment, because anyone that could just edit that to have you saying nothing other than, I don't think Lyle's very good.
No, you could do. And then, but to be fair to Lyle, I've said, I've had a laugh with Lyle many a time, and many years ago he was moaning at me for whatever reason. I leave between him and me, and all I said was, "Lyle, you moan at anything, mate," and he laughed. He was like, "Yeah." So that's by his own self-admission he does that. Going back to obviously the Chelsea situation and stuff like that, I damn hope that isn't happening, because if that is happening, we've got a hell of a chance of staying up.
I do want to reply to that, and I will do. I just have to say, if anyone's wondering what Lyle was moaning at Stuart a little while ago, it was the fact that we gave up doing the birthdays game. So we might bring that back soon. I mean, we don't expect that Chelsea-type Mourinho situation to happen at us, but I want to just go back there because that actually links nicely to going back to Darius Charles for a moment. I know I said I ignore people that don't have a surname, but I'll make an exception for Darius. He is a leader, yes, he is. That's someone, that presence on the pitch that you want, you get behind. I don't think he's looked happy at any stage this season. I don't sense he's the same. I'm not criticising his performance by any stretch, okay? He still is one of our, if not best, players. But his body language, his demeanour doesn't seem quite as it was. He's always he's got this sort of laid-back persona, but he's also, when he's on the pitch and he's enjoying it and he's a bubbly character. I don't get that sense from him this season. Is it just me? Am I seeing things that aren't there? Am I looking for things that perhaps aren't there?
Possibly, because when you have a bad season, you look at all, that might have been there. When, a body language of someone who's in a team that's playing well, winning, is a damn sight different to a player that's in a team that's not performing and they haven't got a hell of a clue why. Just look at Blackburn last night. Look at, every Blackburn player looked a foot taller than us, or, looked big and muscular than us, because their whole presence was of...
More muscular.
Muscular. What I mean is, they all look bigger and they all look stronger, but that's because they're top of the league. They probably are a little bit stronger, but they were top of the league, so their body language is very positive and that sort of side of it. I think at the end of the season, I think I'd be interested to see what the review of the season is. I'm sure Neil Hardy and the management team will have a review on it, and I think there's loads of things that we didn't do right. Recruitment was wrong. I don't think we have the strong enough characters. I think the characters in the team I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but I don't think that there's enough character in that team. And also, we overloaded it with midfielders. So there's lots of things that went wrong this season, and maybe some players are sort of showing that in the way they're responding on the pitch.
Finishing off then with a quick comment about Paul Robinson. He got the Man of the Match award.
He did.
From the sponsors last night. There was one moment he told Lyle, called out to Lyle to make sure he was tracking his man at a throw-in. Lyle didn't, as was his wont in that second half. Paul Robinson at that point, for me, has got to be bawling him out big time, but he didn't. He just let it go. It was commented to us by another fan that they felt that perhaps Paul Robinson has lost a bit of respect, if not all respect, in the first team squad. Do you think, actually, without again wanting to throw mud at Neil Ardley here, but do you think that's of Neil's doing for the way he sort of blamed, after that great January, we had those couple of dodgy results, Rotherham and Bury, and he sort of intimated that the reason we lost those games was because Paul Robinson came in for Barry Fuller and hung him out to dry a little bit, perhaps. And do you think that's now had a knock-on effect with some of the other players?
I hope not. I think Paul Robinson should be held in high regard. And as I said to you earlier, we were saying, I find it very difficult to really be critical of him, because I'm respectful of what he's done just in his short time. It is a short time with us, and but if you look at his whole career, I think he deserves respect. I don't think Lars was going to listen to anybody last night. I think that I didn't notice. I didn't pick up on that. I was too busy shivering or just thinking.
To be fair, it was right in front of us, not us, because you weren't sat with me. It was right in front of me, and so I could not notice it, if you know what I mean. Yeah,
do you know what? 70 minutes, and I was looking at people going to the bar or going anywhere other than watching the game, and I was, for the first time, I was thinking, what's going on? It was micey cold, so, but I think it's the first time I actually thought, I might just go to the bar. I never think that. But there was nothing to suggest the game was going to be turned around. Yeah, it's 3-0. But even at 2-0 sometimes you have a go, chuck the Alamo on, and no, we didn't. We just chucked Tom Sawers on and Parrott just get some game time. The only reason I stayed was because we had to do Facebook Live, and I wanted to actually, if we did score a goal or anything like that, I wanted to make sure that I could talk about it. But
well, I have a rule: never leave early. That is my rule. I have never come closer to breaking that rule than I did last night, because when I looked at the clock and it was at 85, the next 5 minutes seemed like they were going to be the slowest 5 minutes in the history of the world ever, and wasn't far off. I even think, as well, by the way, that the fourth official and the referee, who we'll come on to in a minute, I think they had a little word and said, just about 2 minutes on, there's clearly more. They celebrated their second goal for more than 2 minutes. It took them an eternity to get back in and lined up for the kickoff, just call it 2 minutes. We can all just call it a day. Game's finished. Let everyone go.
Yeah, and a correct decision to make, wasn't it? I just think, Joe, it wasn't a full attendance there last night. I reckon there was no more than, I don't think there was 4,000 in the ground when the game started.
No, it was sub 4,000.
Yeah. Joe says there's quite a few empty seats, and I understand that. I'm not moaning about people not turning up. Crikey, it was a cold, as I said, the coldest night on earth. So I'm not surprised people didn't turn up. But when that third goal went in, crikey, there was empty blocks, let alone empty rows. And it must, I reckon, by the time that game finished, there was probably, I reckon, no more than 2.5 in there. Easy, 2,500. Fair play to the Blackburn fans. I thought they were excellent. They should be. They're top of the league. So why would you be enjoying yourself? But it was the worst thing is when you lose a 3-0 at home. It's cold, horrible, quiet. No one's singing. Is you just reflect and think we're in trouble. I tried not to look at the league table last night, but it don't make good reading at the moment.
Well, unfortunately, that good work that we had coming off that Bristol Rovers win, it seems like deja vu after we beat them at the Memorial Stadium back in November, doesn't it? Where we had this big lift, and then everything went backwards again, pretty sharpish. I still don't think we're going down. I still can't believe it. However, yeah,
as I said to you,
it's more in a balance than it was going into last night. I tell you,
yeah,
Tuesday night even.
And as I said to you last night on Facebook Live, I think we gave that game up. I really do. And 11 games to go, you've got to be careful what games you give up. You can't turn form on just when you want to. We know that. It isn't long ago we were in a unbeaten in January and then went 4 straight defeats. So you can't turn form on when you want to. And I think it's very dangerous going into Charlton and Oxford, which on current form we have an advantage because we're at home. I think that's our advantage. But Charlton not in good shape. And Oxford obviously are looking to get a new manager in. I think it's a great time to play them. But you can't just turn form on when you want to. So I agree with saying, yes, I know you're quite not to say confident, but I think you think it won't go down. But I just look at the teams around us. I feel that, our 6-pointers, our performance at Bury, performance at home to Northampton. I don't think we've got our 6-pointers, which is your character. Your character is all about the 6-pointers because character, big balls. That sounds wrong, doesn't it? But I can't really swear on here. But you need to man up in those games, and I'm really concerned that we're going to run out of games and end up having the situation of getting points at home to Oldham and Bury. Which at the moment, if them games come up now, I'm not 100% confident we win them.
The referee last night, then, you were a fan of his.
He was excellent.
Tuesday night, of course.
Of course. Joe, I was there early again, like I say, and he did the pitch inspections. He was so professional. The whole, he was really good. The game was never in doubt. He chatted to the Blackburn players who were out on the pitch, and he had a bit of a laugh with them, but not in terms of pally or anything like that. But he looked very assured of himself, very confident in the way he held himself. He spoke to the media before to tell them about why the game was on and did he have any concerns. But I thought he refereed the game excellently, didn't make a song and dance about anything. I think he got most decisions right. I thought he was excellent. And you can see why he's on the Premier League select group referees because I thought he was excellent all night.
And this is Graham Scott, of course, famous for the Sillet Bang adverts.
Really?
No. Coldest game ever, you've said coldest day on earth, apparently, according to you.
Yes.
Does this officially now go in the record books as the coldest game we've ever experienced as Wimbledon fans?
Well,
has it dislodged the famous Dorking clash from 2004?
Well, yeah, I still class one of the coldest ones. I still think Hawley away, I can't remember what competition it was, or League, it might have been League actually being
CCL, yeah.
Yeah, Hawley, when we had to go via Gatwick Airport, weirdest ever experience going to an away game. I still think the coldest one was Margate away, a midweek game. And I was chatting to Trev Williams last night and said, I reckon this is colder than. I reckon Margate was colder than this. He went, no, this is probably the coldest game. Do you know what I mean? And Trev has been to all of them. So it was cold, and it goes down as my coldest night watching a Wimbledon team.
Yeah, it's going to take some beating. Dorking will run it close, however. It's maybe a toss of a coin. Dorking At least you could stand up and sort of move around. We were sat down. That made things worse, didn't it? Lost the feeling in my toes. I didn't feel it in my fingers, and I certainly didn't feel anything in my toes. Cold was all around us.
It certainly was.
So the feeling goes. 3-word reports then. Let's have a quick scan of these on Twitter at 9YRS Podcast. I'm being teacher strict this week, and unfortunately we had some great ones, but they did not use the hashtag Don's 3-word reports. So we've now lost them forever. So unfortunately, no, I'm not reading them out. So let's go for Luke Powell at TRD_Powell. He went for not angry, disappointed. Chewbacca at Chewbacca XX. I wonder if that's 2 kisses or it's like 20 in Roman numerals. Who knows? Just gave up. Do you know what? Maybe we should get John Cena in to talk to the team, because he would tell them never give up. And it would be better than the last time he came in and spoke to Liam Trotter, because, you can't see him. And finally, let's go for... I'm looking for Don's Freeze again. There we go. From Simon Hazel at Hazel_Simon. I also want to have a shout out. We'll do 4 this week to Sean at The Fat Penguin. Bollocks frozen off.
Yeah, sums it up, doesn't it?
Well, we didn't have any to begin with, some of the players last night, to be honest with you.
Ouch.
Tuesday night.
Ouch.
Damn it. I keep saying last night. So bad of me.
Shocking.
I think I was listening to, was it The Strokes? That was a great song. We're off topic. Who had a good week? Who had the best week in League One away from us? We didn't have a good week at all. But
Well, it wasn't many midweek games. There really only goes on Saturday's games, really. I thought Blackpool winning at Pompey 2-0.
That's who I had, yeah.
Yeah, difficult place to go to, isn't it? Pompey are decent.
Oh, really? It's just down the... Oh, I see what you mean.
And, of course, down at the bottom of us, isn't it? So you want to try and keep as many teams in that sort of relegation area or zone. And it doesn't mean Blackpool are out of it, but I thought, that was a very good win against a Pompey team that's holding their own easily in this league.
And worst week, I think there's only one contender for this, and they're not English.
So we're going for Walsall.
Indeed I am, yes. 2 defeats. I mean, no one else had 2 defeats. So
Yeah, Joe, I didn't pick it up, actually. I didn't think many teams had a poor week. The only thing, I don't think this class was poor, but Doncaster 1-0 up going into injury time, Rotherham, and to lose the game, I just think it's not poor. They were down to 10 men as well. Do you know what I mean? I can imagine Rotherham chucked every ball into that box. They scored their winner in the 13th minute of injury time. But I just thought maybe that was a poor thing. I think Doncaster at the moment are slipping very close to us, and that's good because we've got many teams as possible to be down with us. But that's all I really got. I've just gone on them. But I didn't know it's Walsall lost 3 games, which is good because we play them soon, don't we? So let's hope their bad form continues.
Yes, they lost to Blackburn. Imagine losing at home to Blackburn. Can you believe it? And then on Tuesday night, they lost away at Peterborough. Now, we are a bit of a curse on managers, aren't we? Because it seems to be we are the final straw for club chairmen up and down the country. Failed to beat us, and their manager will be shown the door. So Grant McCann lost his job at London Road. I did think he would lose it a lot earlier this season, actually, if I'm being honest. Only because I'm looking at that squad, and I'm looking at what they've done under him, and I just feel like that should be a top 6 side, and they underperformed again this season, not being in there. I don't think they will get there. You've got some observations, however, about this, haven't you?
Yeah, you're right. They're inconsistent. That's the biggest problem at Peterborough. You play Peterborough one game, and we got a friend who goes to Peterborough quite a bit, who knows the chairman, and he said early on, Peterborough, you don't know what team you're going to turn up, and I think that's showing we're doing consistency. No, it's just interesting because obviously everyone loves Steve Evans, don't they? And his sidekick Paul Rayner, if I remember. They are the former horoscope person. They are the worst 2 people ever to be on a touchline. Anyway, they obviously handed their notice in at Mansfield, who are doing well this season, 5th in League 2, and surprisingly turned up at Peterborough just shortly after they had sacked Grant McCann. And I suppose I was just I was just surmising, thinking, was that really bad from Steve Evans and doing that? But actually, do you know what? A lot of chairmen are doing it nowadays, aren't they? Look at the Watford situation. How many times now are clubs sacking their manager and then 24 hours they brought someone else in. And anyone who knows how to do contract talks and scouts and agents, there's no way a deal is done like that in that short time. So it was obviously a premeditated move that Steve Evans had notice in. But I suppose it's just a case of now chairman sometimes are getting a bit of their own medicine now, aren't they?
My gut feeling is that's not a good fit. Steve Evans and Peterborough. I don't know why.
It's not. It's nowhere near a bad. It's nowhere near a good fit. It ends in. Darren McAntony is a control freak. Steve Evans will cause him issues. I don't know. Is he actually a league? Do you think he's good enough to be a League One manager? Yeah. What do you have? Crawley with loads of money. I know Peterborough have loads of money. But it's a bad fit, isn't it?
Well, it could be. It could work out wonderfully for them. You just don't know. He could go in there and have an instant impact for the remainder of the season, go on a great run, get them nudging the playoffs. I don't know. But my gut feeling is, no, it's not going to work out.
What I did notice when I was looking at Mansfield, just how getting on, I did notice that the week before they had 3 players commit their future for another year. Always interesting.
That appointment becomes very interesting.
Always interesting, isn't it? When as managers, you want loyalty, don't you, from your players? But I suppose it goes back. Is there any loyalty in our game? We've got a manager who's been here for 5 years, done very well, survived. But is there any loyalty really? I think we show more than others. But other clubs, McCann got sacked because he had, I think it was 7 games without a win. If you remember the week before that, Rosa got sacked for 6 defeats on a bounce. There's no law in this game, is there? And Steve Evans will be out the door quicker than he got in there if he don't pick up any results very quickly.
Is Mansfield a bit of a sexist name? I'm just thinking this. Mansfield. There's no woman's field. There's no lesbian lovers field. Mansfield.
You're thinking too much about it.
Possibly.
And to be fair, Mansfield is like on a par with Newport. It's the worst. No, you wouldn't move there, would you? It's the worst place. And no offence to any Mansfield fans listening, but it's a dump.
Oh, good. Gotcha. Yeah. It rivals Newport. It's horrible. Speaking of paying too much attention to certain things, very quickly, Stu, just to finish off, so to speak, our goals for and goals against record. What's going on? Yeah,
so this year, Joe, I never used to like stats, but ever since Nawadi started using stats all the time, sometimes you've got to look at what stats are out there. And I mean that very jokingly, Joe. I mean, we know that he uses stats, but I've always looked at the stats and what they mean. But one thing I did come across was that we have scored 17 goals at home and conceded 23 goals at home. And miraculously, we've also scored 17 goals away and conceded 23 goals away. So we have a matched up home and away record for our goals scored and goals away. I just thought that was very random. Nothing more, really.
With you. I don't know. I don't know what to say to that.
Nothing more. Yeah, Judge, I just thought a stat stood out. And I thought, hey, I will present you another stat. But basically, it's 34 goals in a season, 17 goals at home. I'm trying to think how many games we played at home now. Must be more now, mustn't it? Must have played more.
Could be about 17, 18.
I can't actually guess. I've got a home and away table somewhere here that I remember looking at. So we have played, we played 17 home games. There you are, a goal a game.
Goal a game. What a great ratio if you're a striker. Not so much if it's for your whole team. But well, we'll talk more about goals and goal scorers later, actually, when we look ahead to the Charlton game. But first, you want some? You were saying stats. You like a stat? Let's have some stats now, Stu. Very quick feature we've got for you this week. Because we played Blackburn on Tuesday night, I was casting my mind back to the fact that this was a meeting in my mind of 2 former Premier League clubs. And it got me to thinking about other former Premier League clubs. And now, of course, football was not invented in 1992. However, the finances involved since the formation of the Premier League do mean that when you look at clubs that have been in that top division under the guise of the Premier League that are no longer in it, the gap is huge now, isn't it? I mean, it's a lot bigger than it was at the start of the 80s, for example. If you fell out of Division 1 or the First Division, it was much for muchness, really. But now the gap is so vast. So I thought it'd be interesting to see how former Premier League clubs are doing. Did you know, Stu, that currently in the Football League, in the 71 Football League clubs in this country, 23 of them have played in the Premier League?
Yep.
Here is my question. Which team has had the longest spell of any team outside of the Premier League since they were last in it?
I would probably go for, let me think, not because whoever's the furthest down is a red herring. I'd probably go with someone like Coventry City.
It's not Coventry, but Coventry are in League Two, and there is one other former Premier League team currently in League Two as well. And there's your answer. But can you work out which team that is?
Premier League team in League Two?
Yeah, so in League Two currently, there are two teams that have been in the Premier League. Coventry were one. The other one is the team that has been the longest outside of the Premier League since they were last in it.
What? Notts County?
They were never in the Premier League.
Luton Town? Luton Town?
Nope, never in the Premier League.
Wow. No, Notts County wasn't it, actually? You're right, because actually I remember the first time I went to Notts County was in the old, I think, 91, if I remember properly. What a dump that was before they started doing it up.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm just trying to think now who's down in that division.
Should I put you out your misery?
Yeah, that's going to really bug me, though. League... 1 second. Who's got a big enough ground to be down in that league? Because it should be about ground sizes, but...
It's not about size, no.
No, it's not about size that matters. I certainly just think actual Wickham, not Lincoln, not Grimsby. No, I can't think.
There are people screaming the answers into their whatever they're listening to.
And they're probably looking at a league table at the same time as well.
Probably, which would help them out. But when I say Swindon Town...
Oh, boo.
Yeah.
Boo.
1993-94, their one season in the Premier League, and they have not been back.
Under Glenn Hodder, we bashed them 4-0 from them, probably. Something like that. And John Fashley scored a chip from about 25 yards, which was literally carbon copy of Ian Wright, who did the same thing at the county ground.
Yes. Now, yes, they were very similar goals. Was it Glenn Hoddle, though? I think he left to manage Chelsea before the season started, and they had John Gorman.
Yeah, he did. Gorman, or Gormanus, as they probably called him.
Well, yeah, that didn't end well for them. But, so 23 teams. You've mentioned the two there, Coventry and Swindon. They are two league teams. Can you name for me, Stu, without looking at a league table, the 1, 2, 3, keep going with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 League One teams that have played in the Premier League?
8 League teams?
8 current League One teams that have been in the Premier League.
So we've got Blackburn.
Yeah.
We have... I've got one, that's good news, isn't it? We've got Bradford.
2.
Pompey.
3.
Charlton.
4.
That's where it ends.
No, because there's one big one.
Sorry, Wigan.
Okay, 5, yeah. There's an even bigger one than that.
Wigan. Blackpool.
6, yeah.
Wimbledon.
There we go.
Who's the other one? Rotherham. Were Rotherham Premiership?
No, it was not Rotherham.
I can't think who the other team would have been.
I'll give you a clue. We have played them 3 times in League One over the past season and 30-odd games. Every single time we played them, it's been 0-0.
Oldham weren't in the Premiership, were they?
Of course it was Oldham. Yes, indeed, it was Oldham. They had 2 seasons in the Premier League.
Wow.
At the very start.
Do you know what? Oldham's one of my first away games I went there, and again, that was probably one of the second coldest places on earth that I've been to.
Oh, yeah, Oldham is very cold.
It was an open terrace when I went there many, many years ago. John, that's scary, isn't it? 8 teams.
Yeah, so if you think there are 10 teams in League One and League Two that have been in the Premier League, I'm suggesting most recent relegation would have been Blackburn, I think.
Yes, because they were Premiership and Championship, yeah.
Yeah, but there was not much... I could be wrong on that, actually, because I don't think there's much between them
or Wigan,
and
maybe.
Wigan.
Yeah, Wigan, maybe.
Yeah, but
again, just shows you though, doesn't it, what a competitive league we're in terms of finances. They're big clubs.
Well, yeah. You look at the journeys. This is kind of not on the episode of the X Factor here, but you look at some of the journeys of these clubs. I mean, none greater than ours, of course. But then you think of, Blackpool rose from nowhere, almost successive promotions, all the way up one season, straight back down, and down, and down. And then last season, obviously, came back up again. Charlton is the weirdest one for me. It's the strangest case of having a team that were the model of a Premier League club for so many years. And then they fell out of it, went backwards, down into League One. They got themselves out of League One and then fell back into it. I just don't... That's mismanagement on a grand scale.
It is. They were stable for so long, weren't they? That was the thing. When you look at it, though, like, you've got Charlton, yes, but if you look at Blackpool, again, that's the way you don't want them. If you remember, and I always use this as... when Blackpool got promoted, and I can't remember who was the manager, was it Holloway who took them up? Or was he taking them down? Yeah. That season, they had the most amount of loan signings. I think they had up to 20 loan signings and got promoted into the Premier League, which then gave them riches that they never expected. Their owner never then really spent money, and I think people said, oh, they're doing well, they're not spending loads and loads of money. Well, actually, in the end, it turned out he was taking money out of the club, wasn't it? Supposedly.
Yes, allegedly. We have to be very careful with Blackpool.
Allegedly. That sort of side. We maybe might edit that bit out. So yes,
I don't think this Mr. Oyston, so it's all stew. All stew.
No,
nothing to do with me.
No. So maybe we'll edit that bit out. So yes, we'll start again and go.
No.
Yes. So Blackpool didn't spend any money, and we've done it the right way apparently. So, but then ended up coming down the leagues and now reportedly losing money. So.
I don't have time to edit this out. It's
damn. But do you know what it all is about? Is this feature? It's all about clubs chasing that money to get back into the Premier League. And as we're seeing at the moment, the Championship with clubs like Birmingham City, Sunderland, Hull City, all now in serious amounts of trouble because I think they've basically mortgaged all their money from the Premiership relegation money and all the parachute payments, and they're going to be joining us in League One. Hopefully, next season.
Yes, and mention there of teams that suffered because of loanees. Norwich, a great example of this, fell out of the Premier League and then went down again, if you remember. They've been down into the third tier as well. I mean, when you look at some of the names that have gone down into our division, it's mad when you actually go through. Wolves,
Southampton,
in fact, Southampton, QPR, for many, many years, QPR. Forest, obviously. So... kind of mad, but Norwich, they struggled big time for a little while. I mean, they seem to stabilise now in the Championship, I guess. Ipswich have been in the Championship forever. I mean, they've been stuck in that league since they got relegated. So they got relegated, I think it was in the final season of the old Wimbledon. I think I've got that right. So 2002, they fell out of the Premier League, and they've been in the Championship ever since. I think only Oldham have got a longer run in the same division. And
what made you chuckle, I was watching Mick McCarthy in an interview after the Saturday Championship game, and apparently his contract's up, and a lot of Ipswich fans want him out because he's boring. But he said he'd quite happy to stay for another year if the chairman wants him, and probably will. But that's a club of, like you just say, very much remember like Rochdale. Rochdale hadn't got promoted out of League Two for, I think, their history, and then got promoted. Ipswich has been consistent in the Championship, but not really going to get promoted. Equally not putting it relegated. It's weird. That's where the fan pressure comes in. The fan pressure comes in because they want the club to spend money, and that's when you get yourself in trouble. Like one of the best examples at the moment is Sunderland. It's a sinking ship, isn't it?
It is. I'm just looking through actually the Championship. There are 5 teams in there that have not been in the Premier League. So you're looking at 19 out of 24 have been there. 5 haven't. Can you name those 5?
One will be Burton.
Well, yes. Do a nice rain in jumpers, but not so much. I don't know, actually. Burton still... I've not seen a Burton for a little while. Maybe they've gone under. I don't know.
Brentford.
Yep. There's another B.
Birmingham.
No.
No, Birmingham did go in there. You got me... So you hoodwinked me into another B. And I just went Birmingham.
Well, no, I've not hoodwinked you. There is another B. I'm sure they won't be too long before this particular club are in the Premier League.
can't think, actually, of the other ones. The two come very quickly to my mind. No, I can't think of the other three. What are the other three?
Bristol City.
Barnsley.
No, Barnsley have been in the Premier League.
Everyone's been in the Premier League, haven't they?
Everyone's been in the Premier League, except for, as we've said, Burton Albion, Brentford, Bristol City, Preston North End.
Of course.
And Millwall.
Well, no one's Millwall in the Premier League. Can you imagine that for the reputation of the Premiership?
Oh, it'd be great.
Wouldn't it?
Be so great. And do you know what? They wouldn't have any trouble staying in that division. No problem at all.
Crikey, only 5 clubs. But, it just shows you, doesn't it, do you know what I mean? The money... It shows you the money in the game. It also shows you that they've got to get down to League One sometimes to realise how much they've mucked up. It's sort of like that level of going, do you know what, something's gone majorly wrong, rather than... It's controlled spending, isn't it? And unfortunately, money can be the root of all evil, and the amount of money that's available in the Premiership is forcing a lot of these clubs to spend beyond their means. And that's one of the things sometimes we should be thankful for that we don't. I know we moan sometimes we don't get the players we want, but actually, would you want to be a club that is literally like a Sunderland at the moment, or Birmingham City? The problems at Birmingham City, I think Steve Cotcher will get out of that place as quick as he can.
We really need to move on. Time's going to escape us there. I was quite happy thinking, we're good for time this week. Just got to the Charlton game to do. I totally forgot about Abdou Ayoub.
Oh, yes.
So let's get on with it very quickly. So this week, Jimmy thought he might be headed to either Shaftesbury or Warwick Avenue to meet this player. That is so cryptic. I mean, that's really cryptic. It's unreal. So he might be going to either Shaftesbury or Warwick Avenue.
I'm trying to think of sung the song for Warwick Avenue. I can't think for the life of me who it was.
It was Duffy.
Duffy.
That's not going to help you.
Oh, damn. Nah, I haven't got a clue. I never get the first one. Don't know why we even bother.
Well, people out there might enjoy it. I don't know. We never get any feedback, so who knows. Midfielder then. This was a midfielder who played 9 seasons for Wimbledon. In his time, he played under 4 different managers.
9 seasons.
9 seasons, 4 different managers. You don't normally associate that with us, do you? When you look at the figures in starkly as that.
So he can't be a one of us come through the non-league, because we didn't have, I believe, anyone that lasted 9 seasons. But some have done well to the last 9 games.
9 years. I mean, it fits in a nice little package, doesn't it?
It does. There's no way at non-league. I should never have said that, because I'm probably in trouble now. If it was 4 managers, it would have to have been the joke in here, Olsen, Terry Burton, and one other of that period. Who was here for 9 years? A youth player, maybe. Maybe Neil Ardley. Let's go for that. See if you can chuck it about there for me.
That's a good shout, actually. Let's see if you're going to change your mind after the final clue. This player, his last goal that he scored for us came against Newcastle in a 2-0 win in the Premier League in January 2000, a game that has previously appeared on the 9 Years podcast, because that was the last time we kept a clean sheet in the Premier League. But that's of no importance right now. This player scored his last goal for Wimbledon against Newcastle in January 2000 in a 2-0 win in the Premier League.
That would have changed my mind. No, I'm going to stick with Neil Ardley.
Oh, that's a great soundbite.
Damn you.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, although I'm not confident. About 50% confident, 60% maybe.
The wrong answer, I'm afraid, Stu.
Damn, see?
Still got the anagram.
I know, which means I've got no chance, but go.
Eel or Barbie?
Oh, Robbie Earl.
Straight
I
away.
Believe it,
Straight away.
Because he's the one I was going to change my mind for. Because I'm thinking everyone listening to this is going to go, Stu, you are special. Because I just thought it was too obvious. I thought it was too obvious. So 9 years. So did he come in under Ray Arthur? No, it wouldn't be under Ray Arthur, would it?
No, yeah, he was, but it was, I think, he was in the Harford with Kinnear and then Olsen.
Because he joined when the Selhurst, because his debut was in the season at Selhurst first.
Yeah.
Yeah, his first game was at Selhurst. He didn't play at Willow Lane.
No.
Oh, damn, I should. Yes, I just didn't think if you'd give me Robbie Earl, I just think that was just the most obvious one ever. Damn.
Well, there you go. Robbie Earl it was. And what an absolute legend he is.
One of my most favourite players, and I didn't. Yes, okay.
Yes, but yeah, I mean, I just don't think no one can have a bad word for Robbie Earl ever, can they? In the history of, even in the coldest day on earth, they couldn't have a bad word.
Robbie Earl had the most amazing run pattern ever. His run was the most stupidest run ever, as if like he was bouncing. That's what actually all his goals he scored. I think the only goal I remember the most was the equaliser up at Old Trafford. I remember probably.
Yes.
And the celebration he did, and he ran into. We were in the corner bit. I think we took a good couple of fouls like that day, didn't we? And he run, and it's the emotion in his face. But yeah, the yesteryears. He's so good if Robbie Earl one time come back to Wimbledon in some capacity, even as a fan or something like that. But he's now based in America, isn't he?
He is indeed. Certainly not in Shaftesbury or Warwick Avenue, which is a very tenuous, very cryptic Earl of Shaftesbury, Earl of Warwick type clue I was going for there. But
yeah, I had no chance.
Times crossword doers amongst you. Is that doers? Is that? I don't know what the word would be. Crossworders. What is the collective noun for some people that like doing crosswords? Who knows? Who actually cares? Not me, because we've got football on Saturday. Apparently, possibly, I don't know. It's snowing outside my window right now, so who knows what's going to happen? I'm hoping for a snow day in work today, Thursday. It's unlikely. But we should be playing Charlton. Stu, we're running out of time rapidly. So just going to say very, very quickly, Charlton, they're not in great form, as you alluded to earlier. They only picked up 5 points in February. They played 5 games. They played a couple fewer than us, but 5 points from 15. And I don't know what's happening with Ricky Holmes. He's not playing. Is he injured, suspended? I don't know. He's not been playing. He's not in the squad. Yeah, he's not been in the squad. So he normally scores against us, and he's not been playing of late. They don't score many. They've got no goal scorer in double figures this season. So we were talking about goal scorers earlier and Lyle Taylor, how important he is to us and stuff like that. They don't. They share their goals around a little bit more, but you've got Nicky Jose, Josh McGuinness, Jake Forster-Kasky. None of them have got into double figures, which I found surprising. But good time to play them.
I hope so. Yes, they're not in great form. There always seems to be a bit of a razzmatazz around this game, don't there? Or
if you've got a bet to get that word in every week,
it's just a backdrop, isn't it? Because of him coming back to wherever he comes back to. I just think I don't like him, and I think none of us like him today. But the game is not about him, and he's very clever. He's not actually done much in the build-up to this. Maybe he knows the game's off already. But he's not really said too much, but he does let his mouth get away with him, and he makes him the occasion where it's not. It's a massive 3 points. And, we need to win it. First of all, let's hope the game's on, but the way the weather is at the moment, of course, this comes out Thursday morning, so we may have seen that by then that the massive snow showers that apparently are coming in are going to make the game not playable, but we'll see. Massive 3 points.
It can't do us any harm, can it, to have him visiting us after the disquiet after the performance on Tuesday night? Perhaps he's the perfect opposition manager to get our crowd back behind us, if you know what I mean, when we might be otherwise on their backs.
Well, if your team can't get you up for a game, then yes, maybe you need something like that. But I would rather our team get us cheering and shouting and all that sort of thing. But yes, it's really, we go into Saturday's game, and then after Saturday's game, we are then 10 games to end the season. Gets a bit scary then, doesn't it?
It does indeed. Are you going to venture a prediction for the game, a scoreline prediction?
I would go with my heart, and I would go with a 2-1 win.
I am going to say 0-0.
That's a surprise.
We're full of surprises on this show this week. And we might even have another surprise for you now, because it looks like we're pretty much that's an hour. So it's probably about time we say goodbye.
Yes.
Unless there's anything you wish to add?
No, it's going to be March, and of course it's going to be our birthdays. We share birthdays. How convenient of that, isn't it?
We don't share birthdays. We don't share birthdays. We don't go, this year I'm having it, next year you can have it. We share a birthday.
Yes, and Mikey T very kindly wished us happy birthday on.
Yes, that was very kind of him.
On Tuesday night, and obviously realised that he knows that the game's not going to be ahead on Saturday because unless he's going to give us another birthday, it was so good he's going to say it twice. But yes, he did wish us a happy birthday whilst we were recording Facebook Live, so we couldn't. Well, I didn't hear it. You heard it. I didn't hear it. I was too busy concentrating on being professional with my responses.
Of course. Yeah, right.
But yeah,
thank you very much, Mikey. Yes, that's very kind.
Yeah,
much appreciated.
So happy birthday for Monday.
Thank you very much. 24 again. Can you believe it? Every year I turn my calendar and it just says 24th birthday. Every year. It's bizarre.
Amazing. I don't have a calendar. I don't look how old I am.
I can tell you if you want.
No, thank you.
Let's just say I think in real life, if you swap the digits of my age, I think you get yours.
Yeah, not far of it. Anyway, is that the end of the show?
It is now, yes. So thank you very much for joining me, Stu. You need to be back in the home, don't you, by 7. Thank you very much for listening to us. If there is a game on Saturday for Wimbledon to play, we shall have updates on it from... I've got those words the wrong way. We shall have updates from it on Twitter at 9 Wires Podcast, Facebook Live as well, facebook.com/9 Wires Podcast. And please check out the website for many other things, 9wirespodcast.org, including an update from Jim Potter, which we've had to do a little bit of fiddling with. That sounds wrong. But it hopefully will be up for you to view now. So please do that. Otherwise...
Sounds wrong.
It does sound wrong. Everything sounds wrong. All right. And on that note, we shall say goodbye and ask you please to join us again next week, when we're going to be joined by Jack Wilshere to get his thoughts on referees' influence in Arsenal finishing 6th this season. Alexa Bliss, bag first, milk last. We will speak to you again next week, and I really do love Alexa Bliss. See you later.